What's up? Three Pedal J back in the garage. Frankenstein's up in the air, and we are just going over our rotating assembly. So I got the sheet back from Clinton. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm going to show you guys what it says. So if you look, you see here it shows the assembly. It's got my customer number. It's got the Hemi. It's got the piston size, the weights of the pistons, and which is 447 grams for just the piston without the wrist pin. The wrist pins are 146. The locks are like 4 grams. And then the rings are 34.5 and so on and so forth. The total bob weight is 1,811.5 grams. So what I've been doing is I've been going through, I have my own little weight machine here. So I've been going through and I weight everything. And if you look for my pins, they came out to be right at almost 146, just shy of 146, 145.9. And the lightest one was 145.7. So that is exactly 146. So each one of those pens. One other thing I want to show is look how low the ring is down in the skirt right there. So that ring is down a good amount. So these pistons are ready to take as much boost as you want to throw at them in a 6.4 application. And then you've got the skirt wearing the skirt material. So this is a pretty legit piston. And I am impressed with JE. The only other forged unit that I've used so far has been the DSS pistons, which I like those as well, but I can see the differences between at least this brand and this model of JE piston and the model that I used for the DSS pistons. It's pretty interesting to compare and contrast. I mean, all things are not the same. So I'll continue to use JE pistons. I'm gonna actually get a set of Weisco pistons as well and try those out. And then I got a set of DSS pistons on order for the 5.7 replacement block. So I'm not piston brand loyal. I just like to get the best bang for my buck, what I can afford. And these JE pistons fit the bill, and they were shipped pretty quickly. So the specs on these guys are right here, along with the part number for a 6.4. So it uses a 1.5, 1.5, and a 2.5 oil ring as opposed to 1.2, 1.2, 3.0 with the DSS piston. And then the compression height's the same at 1.210. Then the piston weight, it says, should be 442, but we know that's not true because it's actually 447. So they misweighed that or whatever. And it says the stroke is 3.579, but that's not true either. It's a 3.72. And then the bore is 4090, which is what the stock bore for a 6.4 and a 6.2 are. So that's the piston that I went with, and we're going to use a stock stroke of 6200 for the rods, and that's what these rods are. These are the Manly H-Tough rods with a 6200. It says it right. You see how it says it right there, H-Tough rod. Hemi 62, 64, 6200 with a 927 weights. We're spinning the ARP 2000 bolts. So that's the rods that I'm going with, and this build, it's should be well over 4-digit capable power handling potential. And then what's nice about these pins are, these are the 200 wall pins, which is what you want, a minimum of a 200 wall pin for heavy boost application. These are thicker, and I can show you the difference between those and a thinner wall 180 wall pin. Because my old DSS pistons came with a 180 wall pin, and then I ordered new ones. Here's an actual one that I ordered, and that's a 220 wall pin. You can see that's a little messed up because that came out of the bad engine with the bad rod that broke. But that's a thicker pin. It's almost the same. I mean, obviously it's the same height, but it's a little bit thicker than this pin is a little bit better than this one, but they're both really good. This one I just keep around just to compare and contrast. But yeah, that's the difference. And so I want you guys to kind of see some of this stuff. These are all the little intricacies that go into putting an engine together, is thinking about all that stuff, like what's your power goals, getting it actually as fully balanced as possible. I mean, the machine shop will balance it, but I'm going a step further and I'm trying to match within a certain amount of grams, each piston to be the same weight within a certain amount, so that you're not putting more stress on the crank, because I want to make as much boost as I can. So I hate when I do that. And then I've weighed the pistons, and I got this one at 446.9, and according to the sheet here, they're 447. I've got these two that I did 447.7, 445.6. So that's also pretty close to being spot on. One heavier, you know. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm just double checking. I don't have the ability, the machine that Chris does, and then I went ahead and I weighed all of the rods as well, as you can see, and most of them came out to be 707 grams, I think. Let me see. The rods came out to be, here's my sheet that I wrote everything down. 708 was most of them. 708.9, 708. So we'll call it 708. I got one that was 705 and one that was 704. The rest of them were really, really close. I got a couple that are 707. So everything's super, super close. So what I'm gonna do is just match them all up when I install them, and we're gonna go from there. But I am just measuring and getting everything straight. I am trying my very, very best to make sure that when we put this deal together, everything is as close to perfect as I can get it. So stay tuned here. As you can see, I've got springs and the whole kit and caboodle. But this is a really trick setup with JE. It comes packaged really nice. It comes with either the red on one side and the blue on the other. It's the same piston. It doesn't matter which side it goes. A little bit different with the JE pistons, because it's really hard to tell which side is which when you're doing it. So what you need to look at for is on the bottom here, and you're probably not going to be able to see it, but on the bottom here, there's an arrow that points towards the front of the motor. So I know that the arrow goes this way. So when I go to put this in, it's this way. It's whatever way, like that's the front right there. That's the way the piston goes in. And then I just got to orientate the rod correctly, which I'll get to that when I get to that after I get done measuring. But I'm really digging these JE piston setups. These are pretty legit. So cool. More to come. All right, guys, here's what I can show you, how I handle this. So this is the right side piston, and I know that because I just pulled it out of the box and has the part numbers and it's labeled. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that. It says 446.7, which I run on here 446.9, so maybe I measured it wrong or whatever the last time. But in any event, that's the measurement for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that one with this connecting rod here, and then we're going to grab this wrist pin here and put that in here, and it comes out to be 1,300.9 grams. So that's one of the lighter ones. The heavier ones are 1,304, and I'm just trying to get them as close to even as possible. But just something I go about doing. Like, you could probably put these together however you want because it's been balanced. But I try to put them as close together as possible, and then I try to put the lightest ones next to each other in a rotating assembly, the heaviest ones opposite each other, so that I can get as close to even as possible. So this will be the number 4 piston and rod, because on number 3 is a lighter version as well. It's like $12.99-ish, $1,300-ish. So this is really close to that same weight, and that way I just try to keep everything as even as possible. Little anal retentive, but that's how I do it. So now that I've got all that done, then you get the fun part of dealing with with these spiral locks, or these aren't spiral locks, these are snap locks, wire locks or whatever. These are a pain in the neck. So what I did was I looked on YouTube because, you know, YouTube knows everything. Oh, and then what's interesting about this is it tells you which way the I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah, the arrow is showing up. So it shows you that that's facing up, right? So that means that this way is cut for, this is the relief cut for the intake. That's for the exhaust. So for this particular piston, the flat side, which is right here, needs to be facing the forward, and the chamfer side needs to be the back. The fillet side needs to be the back. So this piston goes in like that. So we're gonna just lay that there like that, so I can just pick it up and put it in there and know. So yeah, there's that. Now the fun part of doing these are not my favorite. So the way I do it is I do this side first. It's just been easier for me to get the deal in there and then slide it up, slide the wrist pin up in here. So I'm gonna lube this up with some Molly real quick. All right, I'm gonna do that off camera. All right, so I got the Molly in there, and you can probably see some of the residue. And what that does is this makes it easier for these wire locks to slide in place. And believe me when I tell you, you actually need them, because these are really, really difficult to get in. I'm sure there's a tool out there for it that'll make this easier, but I don't have that tool. So what I saw was you slide it in, you use this little recess right here, and then you use this part right here, and then you push straight down with your thumbs, which is super hard to do because it's tight. That's why you need that Molly to get it to slide in there. And then you kind of angle it, and then you take the wrist pin and snap it up into the grooves. I don't know. Let me see if I can get this. The grooves that hold it in right there. There's the grooves right in there. And then once that's done, you can slide the wrist pin in, slide the rod on, and then do the other side. So let me get this started, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's no way I was gonna get this on camera while I was doing it, but you see how I kind of got it pushed in there and wedged and it's angled. So now I'm gonna take the wrist pin and slide it up in there and use that to kind of push that front of the nose down, or at least be, there we go, at least be a blocker so that it doesn't fly out. Because if these things fly out, which has happened to me before, good luck finding them. I got lucky, but you may not. All right, so that's in there. We can use the wrist pin to kind of push up, and then I use a combination of my pick set, the flathead, and then the Torx to kind of push down and up and pull up. It seems to be working for me so far because I've got 6 done. So yeah. All right, stand by. So as you can see, I got it seated in there. I'm getting a little bit better at this every time I do one. So thankfully there's not that many more to go, because it hurts the thumbs like I don't even want to say on YouTube. But yeah, we're getting there. So gonna slide the rod on, gonna slide the pin in, and then what we will do is finish it up. So cool. So this is the passenger side, and what's nice about this is it actually tells you right on there, so that helps you know that, you know, the chamfer has to be like that. So I'm pretty excited. We've got 5 done. I said 6 earlier, but I got 5 done. So I got all the driver's side done and one of the passenger side. So this will be the second passenger side. And then we've only got 2 more. Yay! So soon the 6.4 will be a short block. And I'll be really excited because there's a couple more things I want to get for it, but I don't have, and they're a little costly, but at least I'll have a short block ready to go if anything happens to the replacement 5.7 that I got coming. So more to come. All right, guys. Well, I got it on. Both pins are in, or both retainers are in. It's in there. Chamfer side's on the right side, right there. flat sides there. And of course, I got injured. This is the first time injuring myself during this particular build. Happens all the time. I just wasn't sure when it was going to happen. For this one, I got through 5, and then on the 6th one, I nipped myself, which is to be expected. Those freaking wire locks are a pain in the neck. So we're just going to measure it up real quick, just to give us a good warm and fuzzy, and hope for the best with this deal. Oh boy. And that says 1303.5, which I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that is. I gotta try to see if I can get this deal to. So one of the things that I didn't show you guys is that I used some assembly lube on the wrist pin, because you want that to slide. Oh yeah, 1303. All right, cool. I'll take it. So that's gonna do it for this one. Till the next time, rev her up, dump the clutch, grab a deer, disappear. Peace.